Hello guys, I am back with another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you, and the message reads like this. How are you, my brother? Can you please post my own story? I am staying here in South Africa. I am here because of my work. So it was in the year 2019. That is when I came across this thing that happened to me. Even up until today, I'm still having a problem. I can't sleep. Most of the nights I end up sitting in my bed because I'll be afraid. These things, they usually happen in the evening when everyone will be fast asleep. Sometimes I can just hear a knock on my window, or sometimes I can hear a knock on the door, but I don't know how it is possible because I am staying in the flats. How can someone knock on your window? Because I still don't even understand it. But all these things are happening to me. Maybe I am just going crazy. I don't know. Sometimes on a week, I can only sleep maybe for 3 or 4 days. But all of these things now, they are affecting my work. I am working as a lecturer, and everything that is happening to me, I don't know who to tell because I don't have a family. When I came here, I just came as a refugee, and ever since I came here, I've never traveled back home to my country. And there are days when I'll be standing in the front and I'll be teaching in the lecture room. Sometimes I can just feel that there will be a presence that would have entered into that lecture room. But when I look around, all of the students, they will be busy concentrating on everything that I'll be teaching them. It is me who can only feel this presence. There was this other time that I was in church. I was praying and crying because in my work, if my superiors were to find out that these are the things that are happening to me, they would just think that it is a psychological issue, and I don't want to lose my job. So I am just keeping it as a secret. Every day for me, it is a nightmare, especially in the evenings. I know that my nightmares are going to start, and now I am afraid of load shedding. I ended up sacrificing some of my savings so that I can just buy a small solar system for my household so that I can keep the lights on when there'll be load shedding. It is not because I did this because of load shedding, but I am afraid of the dark. Whenever I am alone in the dark, I can just feel that in my room or anywhere that I'll be, there will be a presence with me. It doesn't matter if I'll be traveling in the car, there will be someone with me in the car. But if I turn around to see if there will be anyone sitting at the back seat, the back seat will be empty. And when I return my focus on the road, I'll see that the car that I'll be driving in, it will be drifting out of the road. My story began in 2019. It was in the year 2019 in Johannesburg, where I am staying, the bustling heart of South Africa. As we all know, the whole city was gripped by terror. The world was in the throes of a deadly pandemic, and the streets of the city were hauntingly desolate during the lockdown. I lived alone as always in a small apartment on the 10th floor of a high-rise building. I came here with my husband when we migrated from DRC. During the days of the civil wars, I was with my husband. But when we came here to South Africa, once we had gotten our papers, my husband then decided to marry a local, and I just decided to stay single like that. The days dragged on and the nights were filled with dread. I don't have a child of my own. I have tried to have a baby with my husband, but we failed. I just feel that maybe that was the reason that pushed him into marrying a local. I never thought that my husband will end up deserting me like that. But as a man, I know that he had to take that decision to desert me because he wanted to have a child of his own. Who wants to stay with a woman who cannot give birth? So I have been living this lonely life. My life was lonely before COVID. But when COVID came around, it actually became worse. I didn't have anyone because back home when we left, I don't even know if my relatives are still alive, because when you are on a refugee status, you cannot travel back to the country that you are running away from. So when COVID came, I didn't have any friends apart from my workmates, and most of them, they were busy with their families. So what I'll do is that I'll end up watching a lot of movies, eating and reading a lot of novels. During those long, lonely nights, I began to notice something that was very unsettling. My neighbor, who lived across the hall, always seemed to be there. Like whenever I would walk out of my own apartment so that I can get some fresh air by the balcony, I would see her just standing there in the hallway. And whenever I would walk out of my apartment, she would quickly rush back into her apartment. She was an elderly woman. Her face was twisted, almost like each and every time that she would look at me, she would have that smile, and the smile was not a good smile. She never greeted me ever since I had moved in. It was like she hated me deep down. And whenever she would smile at me with that evil smile, the smile would send shivers down my spine. She would stand there outside her apartment door, watching me. Her eyes were filled with evil. I tried to dismiss everything that was happening as my imagination, thinking that maybe I was just a lonely woman. Then, as the weeks of lockdown stretched into months, the apartment itself seemed to become a vessel of evil forces. Sometimes I would wake up in the middle of the night, then I would hear that woman. I don't know what she would be doing in her apartment. Like she will be praying, sometimes she will be shouting as if she will be chasing evil spirits out of her house. Sometimes I'll hear whispers. A whisper is supposed to be silent, but sometimes I'll hear these whispers echoing through the walls. These things usually happened in the evening. Even up until today, I still hear her whispers. Sometimes she will shut her door with such a violent force, so much that she would wake me up. When I would look at my phone to check the watch, sometimes it would be around 3 a.m. In those days, when it was COVID-19, there was nowhere for me to run to. I was stuck with this woman. In those days, when lockdown had started, we were not allowed to go out of our apartments. Anything that you needed, you had to buy online, and it had to be delivered to you. I am someone who always loved online shopping. There was this other time I had just finished ordering my groceries and they were delivered to my doorstep. When my groceries were delivered, I never received any notification, but to my surprise, I saw that all of my groceries were on my doorstep. Then there was this other night, I had just finished watching a movie. As I lay in bed, paralyzed by fear, I heard the unmistakable sounds of footsteps, and they were approaching from the darkness. This person who was walking in my house, that person was there in my bedroom, because I heard that person walking from my door and walking towards the bed. Then all of a sudden, sleep paralysis took hold of me. I could not move. I could not do anything. Then I saw, when I opened my eyes, I saw that it was that old woman, my neighbor. She was there with me in my room. I don't know how she had gotten into my room, but I could not wake up. You know that thing that is called sleep paralysis, that you cannot even move your body. The only thing that I could move were my eyes. I looked at her. Then she just said, "Help me." Then she ran out of my room. When that old woman walked out of my room, that is when sleep paralysis released me and I was able to wake up. But when I woke up, I started coughing so much. It was as if something had been choking me all along. I even struggled to breathe. Early in the morning, that is when we heard that my neighbor had died of COVID-19. We were put into quarantine. That is when I knew that my neighbor was someone who was a practitioner of dark rituals. Whilst we were in quarantine, that is when I heard from other neighbors. They told me that this old lady, the kind of a business that she was doing in her apartment, you know, those people that give out flyers by the robots, she was one of those people that claim to give people this thing called quick money and some rats that can go around stealing people's money. Then they will bring it to your house and small boys. So she was conducting all of her business in her apartments. Some of my neighbors told me that a lot of people that seemed to be rich would flock to her apartment. People on our apartment block, they didn't know what exactly would be going on in her apartment. Brother Nashi, this whole thing, even though it happened in 2019, but it is affecting me. With the work that I am doing, I am even afraid to go for counseling, because if I go for counseling, what if they say that I am going mental? I don't want to lose my job. Can you please post my story? Is there any solution to this? I am even afraid to pray, because what this thing does is that if I try to pray when I am in my house, I will feel so afraid that I will run out of my house. Before 2019, what I used to do is that when I would go to sleep, I will place a Bible underneath my pillow. But now I am even afraid to place my Bible underneath my pillow, because whenever I try to do that, my heart will start beating so fast, so much that when I run out of my apartment, if it is in the night, that is when my heart will calm down. Please help me, people of God. I am afraid even to go to church, because I know that when I go to church, when I come back in the evening, I will not sleep. Those things that will be knocking at my door, they will even be worse. The most scary part about this thing is that in the past few weeks, I have been having these dreams, and in my dreams, I'll be sleeping with a lot of men, because when I would wake up after having these dreams, I can see that all of my blankets would have fallen from the bed, and I don't know how it is possible for these things to happen. Please help me and pray for me. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was forwarded to me by one of our admins. What do you do when you reach a point whereby you are afraid to pray? Because the moment that you pray, these things, they start to attack you. Please let us talk about this issue in the comment section.